welcome to the CODEC Show, episode number 5. My name is Peter James, and I am the Business and Entrepreneurship Professor here on campus, and we are coming to you, not live, but we are coming to you from the College of DuPage here in beautiful Glen Ellen, Illinois. This campus here, we're actually celebrating our 50th anniversary here. Actually, let's give a hand for COD being around for 50 years. As you can see here, we do have a studio audience, so thank you so much for joining us as well. We are coming to you again, as I said, from beautiful Glen Ellen. Of course, we are celebrating our 50th anniversary and lots of different activities going on campus for this school calendar year. Please check out cod.edu for all of our activities. And actually, one of our activities that we recently had here at CODEC, and actually I'm getting ahead of myself. So here at CODEC, our goal is to expose students to entrepreneurs and even you, the audience, to entrepreneurs who are actually really in the fight right now. And the fight, by that I mean, is actually trying to grow their business and grow their brand and hear about their upsides and their downsides. As a result, we even have Aaron here today as well, and he's going to talk to us about that in just a little bit. But even before I jump into talking with Aaron, I got to talk about what happened last week here on campus. We had a business, career, and transfer expo, and as a result, we also had a pitch contest and a keynote afterwards. It was a great day. Students attended, learned about a lot of different schools to transfer to, but also learned about different careers and different aspects of business and how it could relate to their lives. There was a resume review that went on. There was I did actually a breakout on entrepreneurship, some marketing breakouts. What am I missing, guys? What else? What other breakouts were there? Accounting and finance. Management, branding yourself. Marketing, I did say marketing, yes. Anything else? Did I miss anything else? So it was just a great day. In the evening, we had a pitch contest. I want to say it's our first COD pitch contest going on here. The top prize was $1,000. And actually, we have someone here in our studio audience who won the third prize, which was $250. So actually, let's give Will Storm a hand. Actually, what I'll do is I'll queue up Will's Twitter account right here too for that as well. So we'll do that. After the pitch contest, we also had our own Tom Kriegelstein, who is actually a COD alumni, who actually owns a leadership and training firm in New York City. So just a lot of stuff, as you can hear about, that's going on. The Entrepreneurship Club was behind a lot of this also. So it was a win-win situation and just a great time all around for students and even the local community members. One of our students who won it is a high school / college student who won a top prize, and she actually did some great things. So for those of you who are very much interested in the College of DuPage Entrepreneurship Club, I encourage you to come visit us, come talk to us, stay in contact with us, follow us on our social media links, and we will get you involved. But without further ado, let's talk about Aaron. Aaron, how are you today?
Doing good. How
Aaron Ozee. Am I saying your name right?
Ozee's correct, yes.
Ozee's correct. Sweet. Aaron is actually a COD student right now, and I love his story, which is why I wanted him to come in here and talk to you guys and talk to the studio audience about what he does right now. Let me see, what little bit do I have about Aaron? He works at Buona Beef as a social media and website development. I'm going to have him talk about that in a little bit. Am I correct?
Yep.
And he also has his own business, which is Ozee Holdings. I'm going to have him talk about that also. So I'm always super excited about having the students who are coming in here and who are currently taking classes but doing their own thing. It's huge. So thank you so much, Aaron, for being here. First and foremost,
no problem.
again, I'm shaking your hand again. Welcome. So let's just get things kicked off.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about yourself. So how long have you been going to COD, first of all?
About 2 years now.
About 2 years. Cool, cool. And you have a major?
Yeah, I'm going to be majoring in marketing.
Sweet. He's a business kind of guy, marketing. Anybody else marketing major here in the room? Oh, silence, silence. So you're the only marketing guy. I love marketing. Actually, I'm teaching a marketing class right now as well. So you're here at COD. You're in your second year.
Yep.
You're a marketing major. What are your plans actually after you finish here at CD first? And then I'm going to ask you about your business.
Yeah, sure. You know, I got a lot going on right now, business related, and you know, it takes up a lot of my time. But school is always my number one priority. It has to be. I mean, you can't really put a price on education.
Sure.
And just growing up and going through school, I mean, always teachers were helping me out whenever possible and, really just making it better for me. So, luckily I was able to attend COD here. And, when I finish, I'll be going to Aurora University to get my bachelor's degree in marketing.
Nice.
And then beyond that, I'm not really a person who plans that far ahead because I like to live in the moment and really just understand what opportunities are presenting itself to me.
Nice.
So I can seize that along the way and really just develop that clear path to move forward. So.
Nice, living in the moment. Those days are over for me. Anyway, so tell me about yourself. Let's talk about Buona.
Sure.
If you don't mind.
Yeah. Well, it's Buona Beef.
Bona. I'm sorry, I just jacked it up. I'm sorry.
Don't worry. Actually, Buona in Italian means good, and Buona in Spanish means good. So people call it all different things, but yeah, it's just pronounced Buona now. But
so that would be like all good, right?
all good. Yeah.
Like that.
Buona has good food, so we're Buona Beef. So.
Buona Beef. Buona. Okay, so I got to remember that because I think
Sure.
at my house we call it Buona.
Yeah.
So.
So I mean, just to kind of give you a picture on where this all began, at least the Buona side of it. I originally was looking for a job early high school. Well, this is while I was still writing and publishing books and just taking my own entrepreneurial path. And I felt in the meantime I should really take on just a smaller job, just to make some extra cash. Talked to my mother's husband, and he actually has been friends with the marketing director of the company for about 30, 40 years. Really good friends, managed to connect me with him. Luckily, I was able to get a job at our Glendale Heights location.
Nice.
Started off washing dishes, sweeping floors, washing tables. I mean, it was a tough job at first, but, eventually I picked it up and, really succeeded, went from just being a server to what's called a GSM, or now a team trainer in our company. It's really where we manage the front of the house staff on behalf of the general managers. So moving forward from there, I was there at our Glendale Heights location for about 2 years. Just didn't really feel like it was going well towards the end of that span. Left, explored some other career opportunities, came back actually.
Nice.
Was brought back in better conditions, went to a different location, and eventually, just in the mix of all this, I really connected with this marketing director of ours at the time. His name's John Gill. Great friend of my mother's husband. Was just talking to him and explaining to him that I had such a knack for managing social media and really just understanding all those digital opportunities in our current world. And I thought that if we were to take better advantage of those opportunities and really bring it to our overall marketing plan, that it would really help enhance things for us. So he took interest in me personally, allowed me to come to our corporate office in Berwyn, started to kind of so intern there for a little while, and managed to meet some of the grandchildren of the family, because it's a family-owned company, and really just started to connect with the right people. And eventually, when I came back the second time to our company, I just made it very clear that it was my intention to work for our marketing department and really make myself shine and bring all that value that I had to the table for us. And they created a new position for me.
Nice.
So no one in our 35-year history has ever had this position, which is a huge honor. And I kid you not, on my first day, scariest thing ever, I go out to my boss, I'm like, I'm ready to work, but what are my specific responsibilities? I had a general idea of what I was going to be doing, but he's like, you got to just figure out what you got to do. Just start building it from scratch and really make the work for yourself. And now I'm busier than ever. I just don't stop working. I mean, managing social media and handling all of our websites across the many different business entities that we as a corporation own, is a 24/7 job, no doubt about it. I mean, you guys got to be prepared for that when, you get up to that corporate level or just enter business in general, because, it's just always on the clock. You're always on the clock. It just doesn't stop. But, that's a good thing, because you're always learning something new. Yeah. So, and there's a lot that I handle at Buona, just a lot.
So I like your story because you started out at the bottom. For lack of a better word, and you worked your way up,
right,
to a certain extent as well. I got to ask you, hopefully you don't mind, how old are you? Not like you can't answer on TV, right? How old are you, dude? You mind me asking?
No, I don't mind asking. I'm 20 years old.
Sweet, sweet. So how long have you been with Buona?
I've been with Buona. I started off in the restaurants about a little over 3 years ago.
It's been 3 years.
And I've been at corporate for about a year and a half now.
And the only reason I ask that is because, I mean, I think you're an inspiration for your peers who are starting out with a company. And sometimes they think, you know, they're going nowhere.
Right.
But in as little as 3 years, you can rise to being a corporate part of the organization, no matter where you are. So that's kind of a very cool story that you have there.
I did want to touch on something
Please.
too, but when I was in the restaurant, the scariest thing ever is whenever a corporate executive came to the restaurant.
Yeah.
Because we do inspections regularly for different things, either if it's operational, marketing based. I mean, we're trying to keep our restaurants in check and make sure that they're doing what they're supposed to be doing. And I remember just as a small little server boy running through the dining room, serving food, and you know, this huge important corporate executive walks in, and I just freeze up like a deer in headlights, and I'm like, what am I supposed to do? What if I say the wrong thing? And you know, I hate how people look at them that way, because we're not like that. We're there to help everyone in our company and make sure that we're succeeding in the correct ways. But I mean, I kind of shed that fear as soon as I started to get to know some of these guys. Nice. And really connected with them and understood them on a personal level. That's why I think I was able to rise to that position so quickly with what means I had available to me. Nice. Because, you know, we're all human beings, you know, no matter if they're a CEO or, you know, a server or a manager. I mean, you know, we're all people, so we have to treat other people as such.
So I got a couple of quick questions right after that.
Sure.
So what intimidated you about those people who would come down to your location?
You know, I don't think it was necessarily their personalities or their qualities as people. I think it was just their status, you know, and I know that's a horrible thing to say, because I know we live in a society where status means everything, and you know, you really have to throw yourself out there and represent yourself in the right way in order to stand out. And I think that's what intimidated me the most, because what if I said the wrong thing? You know, what if I didn't perform to the best of my ability? So, I mean, we were always on guard, but you know what? I was always giving my 100%, giving it my all, no matter what. And I think that really showed these higher up executives what I could do. Nice. And they started to personally take an interest in me and learn about this interest and expertise that I had in managing social media, being an entrepreneur, and I think they wanted to bring that ultimately to the company's main focus. Good
stuff. Tell us about what your day-to-day is like managing social media. And the only reason I want to ask that is because I know about social media, and I can only imagine what it's like to run a social media campaign or just social media for an organization, for a corporation. What does it involve from your perspective, especially from your job perspective?
Yeah, you know, it's very busy. I mean, it's very time consuming. It's not just sitting there and clicking buttons and posting stuff on Facebook, even though that's one of the many facets involved in that operation. But I like to classify my position as more of a gatekeeper, and I don't know if you're familiar with that term, but
clarify that a little bit. Yeah.
Gatekeeper, you know, it's more of a mass communications kind of term. Sure. Basically, I'm responsible for adjusting and controlling the flow of information. And we carefully identify what content we're sharing and how it's being worded, how it's visually being structured. I mean, it's very well planned. So, I mean, just kind of give you an overview of my day-to-day. I get into the office very early, immediately pull up all of our social profiles, see what everyone's posted the night before, checking emails. I mean, really just connecting myself to this entire ecosystem at our corporate office. And then everyone starts to rush into the office, and you know, I'm having several conversations at once, talking to accounting about budget, talking to my marketing director about what objectives we're working on today, you know, talking to our CEO about what he's looking to accomplish. I mean, there's so many people that I'm conversing with at once that sometimes it can get a little overwhelming, but at the same time, you don't know it because the day's moving so fast that you know, you're getting so much done. But you really have to learn how to communicate with people in that way, because if you don't, your job's going to become very difficult. And this is not just for managing social media or managing or editing websites. I mean, this is just in the corporate world in general. I mean, you really have to learn how to communicate with people. I mean, we live in a service-based market, and communication is everything. If you miscommunicate something, something's going to go wrong, and you're going to be like, what the heck happened? You know, you just need to stay on top of everything at all times.
Very cool, very cool. So wow, just very, very busy. What platforms does Buona use primarily?
Well,
Which
I mean,
social media platforms?
so originally, before I came into our office, we were primarily using Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Pinterest. And I mean, the main four is I like to call it. I mean, so we didn't really have like a very developed audience on there. I mean, it was very scarce. Sometimes release a few posts and some would be successful and others wouldn't be. We weren't releasing any promoted posts, which allocating like a boost budget for certain content, which basically if you're paying for a post, it reaches a certain audience in a certain way and you can expect certain results from that. That's why we now have like a dedicated social media budget to handle that from a paid perspective. So when I came in there, I mean, we were just having those 4 properties and we didn't really expand at all. I mean, we had competitors like Portillo's, for example, who got on this.
That's your biggest competitor,
Our
right?
biggest competitor. I mean, when you think Italian beef in Chicago, it's Portillo's and Buona. I mean, we're the 2 big heads, but we've always been knocking each other down and trying to figure out a way how to, do better than the other. But, when I got in there, Portillo's was so far advanced in that field. I mean, they had a beautiful website. I mean, they just redid it as a couple months ago. Looks even better. They had tons of social properties. Millions of people liking them on Facebook, following them on Twitter. I mean, it was just this mass audience. I'm like, why didn't we get on this earlier?
Right.
We just missed this whole boom. So now I think we're just picking up the pieces. I don't mean to use that term at all, but it kind of makes sense because we're catching up where we failed to get on this whole track long ago. But now, I mean, Portillo's watches everything that we do very carefully. I mean, for a long time, I mean, we were looking at their every single move, trying to see what they were doing that we weren't and try to be successful like them. But now more than ever, I think digitally, I mean, they watch our every single move. Yeah. And because I'll post something one day and a couple days later, they'll post the same exact thing. And, I can track that and see what they're being exposed to. But I don't see that as more of a, rip off or if they're trying to copy us. I see it as an honor. I feel flattered by it because we came up with that in our office. I mean, we really thought through that concept, created something genuinely original, and it was unique enough to catch the attention of a giant compared to us.
Wow, they say when someone copies you, that's the biggest form of flattery.
It certainly will be, yeah.
Interesting. So very cool. It seems like your career at Buona is going very, very well. But now, from the entrepreneurial side, I'm dying to hear about Ozee Holdings and what you do and how you do it there. And again, very excited about the fact that he's got his gig, but now he's also got his thing going on too as well. So please share.
Yeah, that's a bit of a lengthier story, and I know it's going to take up most of our time. So I'll go to the very beginning of that. Really, started writing when I was just 5 years old. Doing picture books, sharing it with family and friends. And, I just started writing at such a young age, and I really saw the value in doing that and just feeling the satisfaction of having your name and your words on printed paper is just overwhelmingly cool, and my mom and my dad saw that I had all this raw potential, and they really saw how it could go so far, and they just thought the world of me. I mean, they still do. I mean, they were my parents, so they're my biggest supporters in everything that I do. And just moving forward from that, I kind of tested my hand at doing little picture books now and then, and I started to pick up writing short stories. Between probably the ages of 7 and 11, I would say. My parents divorced earlier on. I've been through 3 divorces in my lifetime, so very emotionally damaging to a young kid. I don't wish it on anybody. I hope none of you guys have had to go through that, but if you guys have, I mean, I'm there with you. I mean, it's a very traumatizing experience, and being separated from your dad is a huge loss because he's not there to nurture you like a father should be. But I'm very close to my dad now, but as a kid, a kid's mind can be poisoned in many ways, and when you're led to believe that he's this devil sitting on your right shoulder, it can make things difficult. So I would go over by him on the weekends, like every other weekend in between school. I would live with my mom at the time and go by him, but I would never really like going by him because I didn't connect with him how I connect with my mother. And he remarried. his wife had kids, and I just never got along with people. I always wanted to just be quiet, be independent, be myself. But every single time I go over there, I write 3-4 new short stories every single weekend.
Wow.
I mean, I'm not typing on a computer, I'm handwriting it. Honestly, handwriting a story or a published work is way better than typing it, because you're putting all this physical and mental strength into it, and it just feels so much better. And I just did this continuously for that time frame, and even though my dad was kind of pissed that I didn't really spend time with him or his step sibling or his stepchildren, he still knew what I was working on and encouraged it 100%.
That's great.
So kind of moving forward from that a little bit, I was going more into junior high school. I started to just connect with teachers a little bit better, and really just understood that they were interested in seeing what I had to produce, and really took a notice to my writing. And I connected with one teacher particularly. Her name was Cynthia Oberman. I went to Indian Trail Junior High in Addison, and she knew right away that there was something special about what I was doing, and started to invite me after class to read her some of these stories that I had written. And I would say she's probably one of the hardest critics I've ever had. I mean, teachers are there not to criticize you, of course, but I mean, they're there to help you. And she's a very knowledgeable woman, and she really brought a lot to the table, and I took a lot from the teachings she had to give. And eventually, I remember one day, it was like a late afternoon, her and I were just sitting there reading another one of my stories that I created when I was over at my dad's house, and she said to me, why don't you try writing poetry? Because I feel like you have such an ability to communicate so much within a short amount of time, in just the least amount of words, and you just create this beautiful world, and it's just so brief, but it's brilliant. Why don't you just try it? I'm like, okay, I'll try it. I knew nothing about poetry. Thought it was kind of silly, to be honest. I mean, even though it's like where I made my name in writing, but I wrote my first poem, revised it about 30, 40 times until I got it right, and I shared it with her a few weeks later, and she's like, "This is what you're meant to do."
Wow.
And
she was a big
seriously,
encourager for you. For sure.
Yeah, of course. I mean, I owe everything to her. If she did not make that suggestion, I don't know if I would have ever made it in writing. I don't know if I would have even continued in writing. And I started writing poems on my own, and obviously I left junior high school, and I was going into freshman year in high school. And probably by the time she suggested that, all the way up until freshman, early sophomore year in high school, I wrote about 52 poems.
Wow.
Just plowing them out over the summer. I mean, that's all I do. I wouldn't go out with friends. I wouldn't, go on vacations, nothing. I would just sit at home. I know it sounds kind of boring, but I would kind of sit home, just listen to music, write. I mean, just be with myself and really develop my creativity. But on a sadder note, before any of this writing exploded for me, I fell under hard times in the beginning of high school. I was experiencing a lot of teen drama. Friends were turning against me in my mind. Family issues were getting heated. My mom was with her ex-husband, which is my stepdad. They didn't really get along at all. They were near divorce, and I eventually started to self-inflict. And it was very hard for me to live in that environment and also go to school and face ridicule and just be put down every single day. It was very hard on me. And eventually I was committed to a mental facility in Streamwood, and I was there for about 10 days or so. And I got to tell you, it was the scariest week and a half of my life, because I saw other kids there who were way worse than I was, and I was like, what did I get myself into? But going into that, I was just so linked into society, and I just was being bombarded with all these different feelings and emotions, and it really allowed me to disconnect. I didn't have access to technology, nothing. I mean, I just 24 hours a day for those 10 days, just being just in this therapeutic environment and really understanding the stories of these other kids that were in there in this environment. And, it really made me understand what am I doing in my life? You know, I don't have anything going for myself. You know, I'm writing here and there, and, you know, I don't really have any career goals. I don't know what I'm doing, you know, and it really put me down. And I connected with these orderlies at this facility and really understood from their perspective what the right thing was to do and how I could remake myself and just emerge back and just bounce back from this negativity. So I left that facility. Changed person is probably one of the most life-changing moments of my, my career, I guess, as a writer, because I think, you know, the first thing when I got out of that facility, the first thing I did was go ahead and write. I see writing as my savior, and I think,
escape.
Yeah, my escape ultimately, and it was just a life-changing moment. As soon as I got back, went back to school, got rid of all my friends that were acting negatively towards me and negatively influencing my life. Tried to rekindle, rekindle times with my mother and even her ex-husband, who was my stepdad at the time, and, you know, really understood that if I'm going to survive in this world, that I really have to focus on what matters most, and that's, making something yourself. You know, not just being another statistic. As I like to say, you know, just really moving into that primal moment of your life. So eventually, not too long after I left that facility, I saw the opportunity to compile all my poems together and publish my first collection of poetry. And ever since I published my first book in high school, it just exploded from there. I mean, I've written 10 books to date over the last couple of years here. 8 of which are best-selling titles.
Wow. So talk about that real quick. How did the process of publishing, and wow, the story that you just told is riveting, of course, but talk about the publishing. You know, many of us may write a little bit, do some painting, drawing, some other artistic work.
Yeah.
How is that process of becoming published? Is it self-publishing, or did you have to partner with a publisher?
Yeah, so before I get too far ahead of myself, sorry, but I'll go back to kind of when I published my first book. So when I was considering publishing my first collection of poetry, I wanted to go the traditional route. I tried to approach big publishing houses like Grey Wolf Press, Random House, I mean, the big names. And trust me, I sent dozens and dozens of letters to them, trying to get their attention, trying to send them samples of my work, but not once did I get any responses back. And, you know, I just felt discouraged in a way. And, you know, I was like, why am I not getting anywhere with this? You know, I just want to release my work and, you know, share it with people. I'm like, I don't even know what this is yet. I'm like, it's just poems on paper. You know, I mean, it doesn't mean anything probably to anybody, but it means something to me. And I want to share that value with everyone. So I went the self-publishing route, connected with a publisher called Lulu, Press Incorporated, or Lulu.com. Probably one of the largest print self-publishers in the world. And at the time, I mean, their publishing platform was very basic, kind of flawed in a way. I mean, now it's very polished, and I mean, it's so nice because they've expanded as a company, but I connected with them. And honestly, the publishing process, if you go the self-publishing route, it's very simple. Anybody can publish a book. I mean, you don't have to go to a traditional publishing house and say, I want to get my work out there. What's it's going to take? You know, I mean, don't go that route, because you don't lose control if you go the self-publishing route. I mean, you have absolute control over the type of paper your book's printed on, the pricing, the distribution, everything. I mean, and that's what I wanted, because if my work was truly going to be shared with people in the right way, I wanted it to be on my own terms, not under the terms of a publisher. So I refused that route. I refused to go that route and took it on my own control and started publishing each book one by one by myself, learning the distribution process, how to connect with retailers like Barnes & Noble, Amazon, Walmart, Half Price Books. I mean, just huge names in the industry, just trying to distribute to them. And I gotta say, if you're gonna go to the self-publishing route, I mean, a big element of that is self-promotion. And utilizing social media is a huge part of it, and really establishing yourself digitally to share that content and to share your successes as it's being ventured through this long journey, is very important. So, I mean, honestly, regardless of what people say, publishing a book is not as hard as it seems, but distributing it and promoting it and really making something out of it is a whole different thing. That's learned over time. I mean, that's through trial and error.
Wow, this is just all great. I didn't know it was like this there, Aaron. So this is very cool. So where are you now with it? So are you still publishing? Are you still writing first and foremost? Are you still writing?
I am still writing.
Awesome,
So.
good stuff. So are you still putting out books
Yeah.
and publishing? Are you still self-publishing, or have you partnered
Sure.
yet with a publisher?
So before I kind of highlight the main events, at least over the last couple of years of what happened, I have gotten several offers from traditional publishing houses, and every single one I turned down because I'm not going to give up that control.
Right.
And some of these offers have been very generous, and I still said no. And people think, wow, you published a book, you must be loaded, you must be rich. No, actually I'm not, because you go the self-publishing route and you either make it or you don't. And I'm not really in this to make money. I'm in this for the passion of it and really making people happy and sharing my work with them, because my work, especially poetry, is so emotional. I mean, it's so raw and just untouched that, anyone who reads it can make anything out of it. I mean, there's so much to it. So just kind of highlight some of the major events. So I published my first book when I was 15, became a best-selling author at 17, and went ahead and claimed 6 world records for my work in the self-publishing industry at 19. And since then, I've published 10 books. They're available in over 100 different countries with some of the largest retailers in the world: Walmart, Half Price Books, Barnes & Noble, Amazon, Alibris, Abe Books. I mean, the list goes on. I mean, and they're available in 3 different formats: print book, ebook, and audiobook. I partner with 2 different narrators to really give my work life and share it with people in this different medium. And I mean, it's just overwhelmingly excited to be covered by these major news outlets like the Daily Herald, Thomson Reuters, Publishers Weekly. I mean, it's just so amazing to see all these people taking interest in what I'm doing. And I think the appealing part to it really is that I've done this all on my own. There's been people along the way that have helped me in certain ways and really given me advice, but no one's sitting there holding my hand and saying, this is how you got to do it. I'm figuring it out on my own. I mean, I have put so much effort and so much mental strength into creating these things, and really just to see my work on paper and to see people reading it overall, I mean, it's just very satisfactory. And I think so much has happened since that first day that, my teacher recommended that I start writing poetry. I mean, look at how far it's gone. I mean, I just really connected with her again about 8 months ago. She knew nothing about this. She didn't even know what was going on. And she's like, I am so glad to hear that you've gotten to this point, but just so you know, regardless of how much credit you may give me, it was all you. Yeah. And you did it, and you made it happen.
But I'm sure she's very proud of you also.
I think so, and I see her as a parental figure. I really do.
That's great. Good stuff. Hey, I'm hogging a lot of the questions with Aaron, folks, so I'm going to forgive me for that. I was just kind of riveted by his story a little bit. Who's got questions from the studio audience? Got someone in there in the back. Yes,
sure.
Ma'am.
So, being that you're 20 years old, do you ever look at it, everything that you've accomplished, and say, wow, does it really make you want to just keep going like full force? Or do you ever feel like you need to take a step back and breathe and take it all in?
Yeah, so great question. Get asked it all the time, believe it or not. And, people ask me, they're like, with everything you have going on, I mean, is it just so overwhelming that you just want to stop at some point? I mean, do you just want to, call it quits and say, you know what, you've gone a long way, just give it a rest for a little while, enjoy life, sure. Just try to take a break. But, I got to say, sometimes that thought does come across. And, when you publish a book, it takes a piece from you. And I know that how morbid that may sound, it really does, because you put so much effort, so much mental effort into it, that it just changes you as a person. I don't know if you guys have ever seen like one of the Harry Potter movies, like where Voldemort pieces his soul into these different elements, these different items. It feels like that in a way. I'm just kidding around, but it just takes a piece out of you, and it's so satisfying to see a bit of yourself in that work, and really just to see how far it's gone. But eventually it tires you out, and I get headaches all the time. I'm always tired because I'm always so busy. And, if I were to go back and do it again, I would probably still publish those books and still make myself the way I am today. But, that thought does come across. But that thought I push aside and really understand that I'm not in this to ruin myself or just tire myself out. I'm in this because I enjoy it, and I'm in it because I see great things in the future for myself in this way. And I really want to, keep developing that side of myself, even though I work for Buona. I mean, I want to just really develop myself entrepreneurially and go that route. So,
Any other questions? Yes, please, in the back. Could you speak up?
Yeah, do you have any daily habits you would associate with your success?
That's a very good question. Daily habits. Yeah.
yes, I am a very sarcastic person. And sarcasm is actually one of the determining factors if someone's going to be successful or not. I've heard it come from many different sources before. I've talked to a lot of successful people. They're all sarcastic. And sarcastic people don't get along with each other because they always think they're right. I don't think ego is a factor in that at all. I try to remain humble as possible. And like I said, I'm not sitting on a pile of gold or anything. I'm going to school. I'm still living at home with my parents. I have a girlfriend like most of you guys, and I try to live a normal life. But some of the other factors I would say is, you have a very short attention span now because you're always on top of your own work and you always want stuff to be done that very second. So it does kind of ruin certain situations, especially if you have to be patient and really analyze something that's going on. But there's certain mental habits I would say that really come on, and either they're good or they're bad. I mean, it really all depends on how you accept that success and really process it, because all this stuff's going on and sometimes it's a little overwhelming. You start to go crazy. You're like, what am I supposed to do? It's all happening so fast. I mean, I've seen so many interviews with so many successful people and they're like, it just happened so fast. Like I didn't even see it coming. You don't see it coming. It just comes out. I mean, it surprises you. And whether you're ready for it or not, you just have to jump on it and make the best of it.
But now on a day-to-day basis, do you get up in the morning? Do you go to the gym? Do you have any rituals that you do every single day that you may?
Yeah.
Maybe some students might want to mimic what you do a little bit.
Drink a lot of coffee. All right. Go to Dunkin', get some coffee, get your day going. I would say
it's a plug for Dunkin' there.
Plug for Dunkin', but not being endorsed. But I would say, I would say in order to really just deal with this busy behavior, try to relax a little bit. Seriously, I mean, I go to the movies a lot. I just try to do some reading, be quieter. I mean, really just drown everything out, because I mean, if you're on the computer all day long or looking at your phone or really just connected, I mean, you just got to unplug sometimes. And I'm not going to tell you certain things that you should do in order to plug in a little bit better and really just connect better. But, you have to figure out how to be successful, but at the same time, have a little fun with it and really just relax, because, if you're serious all the time, which I had a very long streak where all I did was just work, and it really affected me. I mean, I was being socially recluse and just tried to isolate myself from everyone else. And I just felt like what I was working on was more important than anything else. But, spend time with your family, be in a relationship, really express yourself creatively in other means, go out and go on a vacation, play some sports, go to the gym. I mean, it's part of yourself. So, I mean, it can't consume your whole life. I mean, make it into that overall mix.
Right. Good question. Yes, sir.
What time does your day start and what time does your day end?
It's a good question. On the weekdays, starts about 4 in the morning, ends about 11 at night. So just going constantly. And I mean, on the weekend, it's a little bit different because I'm not in the office. So could go 13, 18 hours. I mean, I'm just constantly working, trying to figure out the next best way to promote myself and to enhance my abilities both at Buona as well as by myself as an entrepreneur. So, yes.
Going back a little bit, you said you got very generous offers. What was your best offer, if you don't mind sharing?
I'm not going to go into the details with that. I mean, just because people don't like talking about their money or trying to give specific details. But if I were to explain it in any way, it would be my first print run would have been like 10, 15,000 copies. I mean, distributed to mainstream bookstores. I mean, it was going to put me on the map. But, I feel that I can do it by my own and under my own terms, and I still value that more than anything. I mean, like I said, money is not everything, and it's really for the passion of it. And, a lot of the revenue that I do generate in my business goes back, I convert it back into promoting the business and molding it even more into making it a more successful entity, because eventually I will generate enough revenue from it where I can do that full time, and I hope that happens. I really do.
Thank you for the question. So I got one more question maybe to wrap up the interview a little bit
Yeah.
as well. Your future goals. So you're here and you even started out by saying, I'm living in the moment a little bit. I don't plan out too much, but you have to be thinking about what the future holds for you, even as your college education ends. What are your plans?
Yeah, like I said, trying to live in the moment is very important. I'm just saying that because, if you look too far in advance and really just miss the important little things in life, I mean, you're going to feel bad about it, because 30 years from now, you're going to look back and be like, where did my childhood go? Where did my college experience go? I mean, you're not experiencing it. I mean, you're just rushing through it. Sometimes I'll have days that go by so fast. I'm like, what did I do today? What did I accomplish? So I really try to take my time and really understand what I'm accomplishing, so I can use that knowledge to further, my future successes. But looking forward in the future, my 5-10 year plan, I really want to make my work as an author more available to, at least going from the entrepreneurial side of it, I really want to make my work more available to schools, to libraries. I want to go the educational route, because I may promote my books and what I'm doing as an author to my current age group, as well as people that are older than I am. But to tell you the truth, that's not my future audience. It's kids, because one day they're going to grow up and they're going to be exposed to my work and really understand who I am. I don't want people to just take the words at face value. I want them to understand the man behind it, and what I did personally to make myself a success and really generate this amazing content. But I think from being an author, moving forward in the future, that would be a good plan of mine. I mean, just try to get more exposure, go to more author events, talk to other authors, understand what they're doing, because you're always learning. You're never going to get to a point where like, I am all knowing and there's nothing else that I can consume intellectually. I mean, you're going to get to that point, or you may think you get to that point, but you're really not. I mean, you just have to take in whatever knowledge you have available. As for the bonus side of it, I don't know if I'm going to be a Buona forever. I feel like things are going very well there. I feel like I'm contributing such value to our bottom line and really, growing our company digitally, but there's always other companies out there that are seeking expertise of mine and in that field, because the digital age is just starting. I mean, we're going to grow exponentially over the next 50, 100 years here. I mean, it's going to be a totally different world, but maybe go on to work for some other Fortune 500 companies, maybe Pepsi, maybe McDonald's. I feel like promoting a physical product is a little bit easier, and I think is a little bit more fulfilling than promoting a service. Yeah. Not saying that it doesn't go both ways, but if you promote a product very well and you see it take off, I mean, you can personally say to yourself, man, I created a plan to promote that product. It was created from scratch, and look at it now. It's so successful, and I mean, you just see success come out more often in that way. That's just how I feel. I think going more to the physical route is a little bit better. So
awesome, good stuff. Hey, let's give Aaron a hand, folks. I don't know about you guys. He was an inspiration to me, listening to him talk today and his journey, his road. This is clearly an example of who we want to bring into CODEC, into our meetings, to expose students to even share with students, for us to build our own ideas and even to grow from this as well. Hey folks, we have a lot of stuff coming up with CODEC the rest of this semester. We have one more meeting, but also next semester we have a lot of stuff going on in order to make you grow as an entrepreneur or as a small business owner. And even we have our next phase is emerging entrepreneurs, which helps students grow, which helps their businesses grow. We look to expose more of you to that. Those of you in our audience out there on YouTube, thank you for joining us. Look forward to having you. We have a Christmas celebration coming up next month. And with all that, thank you again, and we're signing off.